kulaks and gulags. Stalin clears the countryside of all resistance. All through 1929, Stalin's henchmen worked their way through the countryside, forcing peasants onto collective farms. At the beginning of 1930, they received an order that would make the process even more terrifying. They were to identify peasants who were better off than average, known as kulaks, and eliminate them as a class. Who exactly were the kulaks? Not even Stalin knew for sure. The Soviets defined them as farmers who used hired labor, ran a grain mill or creamery, or rented equipment to other farmers. But the technical definition mattered little and often changed. In practice, a kulak was anyone who resisted Stalin's push for collectivization. Farmers accused of hoarding grain were kulaks. Peasants who refused to join a collective were kulaks. People who talked back to a party worker were kulaks, and for many the label was a death sentence. On Stalin's order, dekulakization began in January 1930. The secret police invaded village after village, arresting kulaks and marking them for one of three punishments: execution, deportation, or imprisonment in a work camp. No trial was necessary. The decision of a police commander or party boss was enough to condemn a peasant to death. Over the next 2 years, nearly 2 million people disappeared from the countryside. Some were killed by village mobs, who were encouraged to attack kulak families. Tens of thousands more were shot by the secret police. The rest were packed into unheated railcars and shipped like cattle to the far reaches of the Soviet Union. Peasants look at posters mocking kulaks. Farmers who resisted collectivization. "We must smash the kulaks," Stalin insisted. "We must annihilate them." Hundreds of thousands of these deportees, many of them children, ended up in labor colonies known as the gulags. The gulags were slave labor camps, and they expanded quickly under the 5-year plan. They housed not only kulaks, but murderers, thieves, wealthy businessmen, and former supporters of the Tsar. Inmates were forced to chop wood for timber and mine gold. They built roads, canals, and railways. They provided a vast pool of free labor to fuel Stalin's industrial boom. Prisoners endured hideous conditions inside the gulags. They labored for long hours at backbreaking jobs. They died on starvation rations and received little medical care. They were purposely worked to exhaustion. They died by the thousands. Sadistic guards punished prisoners for any reason or no reason at all, sometimes torturing them in gruesome ways. Gulag survivor Alexander Solzhenitsyn described one such torment in his book, The Gulag Archipelago. A prisoner who had been singled out for bad behavior could be thrown in a dark closet that Solzhenitsyn called a bed-bug-infested box. Hundreds of hungry parasites would swarm the miserable victim. At first, Solzhenitsyn wrote, he waged war with them strenuously, crushing them on his body and on the walls, suffocated by their stink, but after several hours, he weakened and let them drink his blood without a murmur. Joseph Stalin, who had spent years in the Tsar's Siberian prison camps, was now sending his own people to an even worse fate, and he was just getting started.